So after the introduction, and after you've explained government market failure, we need to start to get into one of our main points. And I'm going to explain one point today, and that's the subsidy. Now, when you get into writing about a point, the first thing you need to do in words is explain the economic theory behind the point. So for a subsidy, you could write something like, the government in the UK may choose to intervene in the agricultural sector by paying a subsidy to farmers. This would reduce their costs and therefore protect farmers' incomes. This is potentially a cost saving that they could pass on to consumers. And that's it. That's all you would need to write. Something very simple and straightforward that clearly explains what a subsidy is and applies it to this question. Now, after that is the perfect time to use a graph, because in economics, almost every section has a graph that you can use. And here we see it in front of us today for this question. So we see price on the left, and we see Q on the right. Now, price is obvious. We have, let's use an apple again, a price of an apple at 30p, 22p, and 16p. Q is the quantity. How many apples get sold at that price? The downward sloping line is the demand curve. You can see that if you were at the top left of that curve, the price would be very high and the quantity demanded would be very low. Imagine if someone tried to charge you £10 for an apple. Would you buy many? Probably not. If someone charged you 1p for an apple, you'd buy loads of apples. You'd have apples coming out of your ears. So that's why it slopes down. We have the supply curve that slopes up. If you're a farmer and an apple gets sold for 1p, down in the bottom left of the graph, you don't want to sell many apples. You could sell 100 apples and you only make £1. In the top right, if one apple costs 100p or £1 and you sell 100, you make £100. So you want to supply much more at that level. Now, consumers want the prices low, suppliers want them high, and that's why we meet in the middle. Our equilibrium is here. Now, in this case with a subsidy, the government is making it cheaper to produce every single unit. So for every unit produced and sold, the government will give 14p in this case. Now, that moves the supply curve from S1 to S2. As well as drawing this diagram, you need to explain it. Students that get 60% or 50% draw a graph and don't explain it. Students that get full marks always explain what they see. What you would write here is, as you can see from the diagram, when the government intervenes by placing a subsidy in the UK agricultural sector, the supply curve moves from S1 to S2. This reduces price from 30 to 22. It increases supply from 100 to 140. You've clearly then explained what the subsidy has done. It's moved from S1 to S2. And that's how you use a graph effectively.